Invest like a pro.
Invest like a pro. Invest like a
Yeah,
pro.
yeah. So now, this week we have actually been having a lot of conversations in terms of people that want to know more about property investing, right? So just a quick clip, right? If you are actually interested in investing in property, make sure that you book a Zoom meeting with us so that we can have a one-on-one, right?
Or even better, man, before we even talk about that, you need to join us in the next event, man. If you've been missing out, trust me, man, the FOMO's real because we bring experts and we talk about real stuff. So better make sure that you hit the link below and secure your seat for the 4th of June.
So today we are actually going to be touching on the 3 different types of properties that you can actually invest in. The thing about developments, right, is that we've always had a challenge with people investing in developments, right? But now today we had someone that actually spoke to us about developments and gave us a different perspective, right? So when you're looking at a development from my perspective, right, is basically you speculating that this property will actually increase in value through time. Now, the problem with that is that it's not predictable in terms of will this property actually increase with the value with time. What's your perspective now?
I mean, with development, man, there's pros and cons towards it, just like there is with any type of property investing. Hence, what we're doing today, we're putting a microscope to all these for looking at both the pros and cons, so that if you are actually deciding on entering into either one, you already know what to anticipate. With developments, there is this notion whereby it's still new. So the market is still new. We are still the first buyers. So there's a possibility that it will increase over time. However, here's the thing, right? We need to understand that where or how new is the market, looking at how long has this development been going, because there is a property that we're looking at. They started these developments in 2014, and then now looking at what's happening right now is that it tripled in value, right? So now here's the thing, they are still selling developments. So now the person who will be buying it right now is that the question is, can it still really go up? Because if they were selling at 400,000 in 2014 and then right now they're actually at 800,000, can we still say that maybe in 2 years' time there'll be 1 million something? It's a question. So now that's when you, as a property investor, are going to ask that, am I playing that game in terms of holding property for a very long time, hoping that it will increase, and if it does increase, then I'm selling? Or am I really focusing on cash flow? Because as much as I'm buying it in an early phase, that does not necessarily mean that I'll be getting cash flow positive. So I really need to understand which game am I playing. And for you?
You know what my thing is, right?
Yeah.
People will come back to us and saying that non-wealth guys are the ones that I said I shouldn't actually purchase a property because they have a problem with it. You need to understand why are you investing in that property. So for me, investing in a property would rather be I want to be able to predict with this property that what is actually happening in the market right now. So now looking at that type of investor, you're looking at what has happened in the past and assuming that this will actually happen in the future. If I'm going to be purchasing a property today and the current market value of the property is sitting at 1 million, I am sure that the current market value is sitting at 1 million. So if I'm going to be negotiating, I'm going to assume that this property won't appreciate in value for the next, let's say, 5 years. In so doing, I'm actually putting myself in a situation whereby when I did negotiate the property down, even though the property prices might actually go down, I know that I'm still safe from that perspective. Now, the problem is if you are actually going to be buying it at market value and now the properties don't increase, they actually decrease in value, it then becomes a problem for you to actually sell the property. And now remember, if your property has actually been running cash flow negative, when you do get retrenched, you're going to sell that property first. That's going to be the first expense that you're going to tick off your box. So now, does this really mean that you can actually sell the property for a profit if you had actually bought it at 1 million and now the current market value is still at 1 million?
True. No, 100% I'm with you, man. There's different reasons why we are all investing, and there's also different strategies. So we need to actually marry everything in terms of us getting to our desired goal so that we can get the desired results that we want, either on a monthly basis or even after 5 years. Because for me, it doesn't make sense to buy a property, then hope that it will actually appreciate, because we do know, we've seen this, that in some markets, some properties don't appreciate.
Yeah.
So now, if your main reason for buying was that hoping that it will appreciate, only after 10 years or 5 years, it didn't appreciate. So that actually takes you back in terms of your strategy. Before we even go to the next point, man, please give the bird some love. We got a new bird there.
That's what I was about to say. Hey, blow the comment section up, man. If you like the new bird over there, please blow up the comment section. Tell us if you like it or not.
And then secondly is that what we really want to speak about is buying distressed properties. I really want us to put a microscope towards the strategy, that what do we really mean when we talk about buying a distressed property. There's a lot that actually goes into that. You've experienced it, man. I can tell by your face, I can tell by your scent that, man, you've been through the worst, man. So in terms of buying a distressed property, is that not every distressed property is an investment. It goes back to what we're always saying, that not every property is an investment. So what do I mean by saying not every distressed property is an investment? Sometimes you find yourself in a situation whereby you did buy it below market value. However, when you add all your expenses in terms of fixing, now you actually need way more. When it comes to selling, you make a loss because you didn't run your numbers correctly. So that ties a knot in terms of us saying that you need to understand that at what cost was it distressed, and what are the financial implications towards that. Because if it's going to be too much, you might as well have bought a property that has just, you might as well bought land, developed it and sold it at a price that you would have gained a profit. So now you need to really look at it. What are my expenses associated to that property?
The more you put into your property, the more your total investment is going to be. Let's look at it from this perspective, right? If we're saying that we were able to actually collect 10,000 on an annual basis, right? This basically means that if I invested 100,000, I'm actually going to be getting a return on investment of 10%.
Yeah.
Now, if something was bigger than what we had actually anticipated, say for instance there's a crack underneath the house, right, and we need to then take out whatever that's causing the crack and resealing that thing, and we find out that now we have actually spent 150,000, I can't increase my rents because I have actually increased my total investment. This basically means that I'm going to get a lower return on investment. So whenever you're going to go into distressed property, right, you need to understand that what are your numbers for this particular property, especially if you're doing it as a normal rental, say for instance renting it out to a normal family.
Man, this reminds me of a conversation that we were having with one of the ladies that actually attended one of our events. Okay, we had it today and we were speaking about how aggressive we are when it comes to the number side, because we can actually put a margin in terms of, let's all be in one room and let's see who's going to get a deal before end of the week. You'll find out that somebody didn't get a deal in the end of the week. They might get it after 3 months, only to find out that deal will enable them to buy the next property and the next property and the other properties. Whereas somebody got a deal, the first deal they came across was a deal towards them. Maybe it had 20 rooms or maybe it was a land. However, now looking at growth, it doesn't allow you to grow because you might have exhausted all your credit, you might have exhausted all your cash. So it's very important in terms of when we're looking at it from an investment sense, that even if I am going to go into property investing as distressed property, how am I positioning myself to ultimately grow towards my desired goal?
Of course, man. So the third point that we would actually like to speak about is being the developer, right? So now we're removing the development and we are actually being the developer. So now we just purchased this land and we're trying to build on this land. So now here's the thing where a lot of people get it wrong. They think that if I was to actually purchase the property, demolish the whole property and then build whatever I would actually want on that property, then I'd actually get a higher return on investment, which is not the case. So now every time when you are going to actually purchase a property, you are purchasing the land with the structure on that property. So now once you remove the structure, this basically means that your total investment is actually going higher. And then if you're actually going to start to then rebuild the property, you are having an additional expense as compared to someone that just bought a piece of land and then built a structure on this. For instance, if someone is actually selling land for 400,000, right? And now with this land for 400,000, your contractor says that they will actually charge you 200,000 to build a structure on that land, right? Basically means that you are 600,000 in the property. In a market whereby the properties are actually selling for 500,000. Now you have an additional 100,000 that is on a property. I mean, if you are purchasing this property for your own good and you wanted your own structure and how it looks like, then I can't actually fault you on that. However, if you're buying it actually for property investing, then you know that you're in a bad deal. Understand every expense that you are going to encounter before you actually purchase the property or the land.
If this doesn't make sense, or if it makes sense but still at the same time it doesn't make sense, hit the Calendly link below.
No, I tried as much to simplify it, man.
You did good.
Okay.
You did good. So hit the Calendly link below and let's have a discussion, because ultimately, as you can see or maybe hear, that we are very robust when it comes to the numbers side, when it comes to does it really make financial sense or even business sense. Because I know with a lot of people it's more of properties breaks, let's buy as much and then we'll see at the end in terms of how much can we sell it for. However, we are really robust when it comes to the numbers side or the back office towards property investing. Reason being is that we were in the game, and I know that here's the thing about property investing, right, is that as soon as you buy that land, you buy the land, and then only to find out that you bought it in an area whereby the properties and the surrounding properties are really top notch. So what does this mean? This means that you can't compromise when it comes to everything being done in a quality position. So now you end up spending more to a point whereby you cannot stop that. You cannot stop the project. And that's the thing that we also found ourselves with. We bought a distressed property in a very good area. So what does that mean? That means that even your finishing touches needs to be great, because ultimately if your finishing touches are not great and it's time to sell or cash in now, you will be negotiated. So you don't want to be that guy who's negotiated.
Yeah. So it's always nice when you are actually negotiating on a price, but when the price gets negotiated on you, it's a totally different ball game.
Hope that you guys got a lot of value, and hope that you guys will be hitting if not one, both links, booking your seat for the 4th of June and also booking your Zoom meeting so that we can have a discussion about property investing.
Man, I'm really excited to actually meeting you.
Invest like a pro with no wealth.
Okay.
So